Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about 10 small changes I made that had a huge impact on my life. So let's get right into it. I'm going to start with the most basic one and then get into the ones that I've heard people talk about the least. So the first one is having a solid morning and night routine. Honestly, I know a lot of people focus on their morning routine and think their morning routine is the most important, which it is very important, don't get me wrong. However, having a good night routine is setting you up for success in your morning routine. For example, a couple things in my night routine include like setting out my gym clothes, prepping my gym bag, even like prepping breakfast for the next day. Like all of those things are setting me up for success in my morning routine. Because look, I wake up, I don't have to pick an outfit, my clothes are right there, my gym bag is already packed. When I get back from the gym, I already have a healthy breakfast ready for me. You know what I mean? Like it's just making it that much easier to be successful in your morning routine. And then it also keeps you going to bed at a reasonable, good, consistent time, which makes it that much easier to wake up and do your morning routine. But the biggest reason why my morning and night routine have created such a big change in my life is because after they become habits, like once you get used to doing that, all of the big, important self-care things that you have to do for yourself are just second nature. You don't have to think about them. Like in the morning, I don't have to think about getting my workout in. I just do it. I'm used to it. I don't have to think about making a healthy breakfast. I just do it, you know? Same with everything, like my skincare, brushing your teeth, like all of those things that you really need to do for yourself every single day. Between your morning and your night routine, like you've got it on lock. Like you don't have to think about it. And that makes it so much easier. And then you feel so much better because you're taking such good care of yourself, even though you don't feel like you're doing anything extra. It takes time to build a routine that works for you. But once you find a system that works for you, they are impeccable and incredible, and they have both made my life so much better and also so much easier. Number 2, keeping promises to myself and following through with what I say I'm gonna do. So this has never been a problem for me in terms of other people. If I tell someone else I'm gonna do something, I'll follow through with it. But then when it came to myself, I'd be like, oh, tonight I'm gonna do a really good self-care night, and then not. Or I'm gonna start going to the gym. I'm gonna start posting a video tomorrow. And like I would say these things and then I wouldn't follow through with them, or like, you know, come the next day and I'd be like, maybe tomorrow. I don't really feel like that. When you do that, you're creating a sense of distrust with yourself because you're telling yourself, hey, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then you don't. So then you honestly learn to not trust yourself. And that was something that I changed right away. Every time I tell myself I'm gonna do something, I do it. I follow through with every single thing I say to myself. You have to start building that sense of trust back with yourself by actually following through with what you say. So don't say it if it's something that you're not actually going to do. Say it if you mean it and then do it. Going right along with that one, number 3 is I started to set hard deadlines for my personal goals. I am the type of person who, when it comes to like assignments at school or projects or anything that has a due date, I can always do it on time, right? You know, they had a sense of urgency, a sense of importance, and so I would always get them done, always by the deadline, no issues. However, when it came to my personal goals or personal things that I wanted to pursue that don't necessarily have a deadline, I created a deadline. So if I want to post 10 videos, I'll set a hard deadline. I'll be like, okay, this day, this time, this has to be done. I used to think of them as things that I wanted to do as opposed to things that I had to do, like assignments, etc. I rewired my brain and I stopped thinking of my own personal endeavors and my own personal goals as things that I want to do. I started thinking of them as things that I have to do. You know what I mean? Like, if it's something that I truly want to pursue and I want to succeed at, I need to set deadlines for myself. And if you have a problem with like holding yourself accountable with something like that, send your deadlines to a family member, to a friend, and report to them when you do it. You honestly just have to work with your brain rather than against it. And for me, something, like I said, that I've always done well with is having due dates and making things important, you know? Number 4 is I started scheduling self-care nights or self-care time in general. So I'll be like, okay, Wednesday night, that's a self-care night. And those are my plans for the night. I don't schedule over it. I don't postpone it. Like, I set that time for me to do that, and that is my time. You know, I'm not dealing with anything else during that time. Like, I prioritize my self-care, and one thing that helped me with that was setting specific times to do that. Obviously, if I feel like doing self-care any night, I will, but I pick specific nights of the week or specific something just so I know that I'm not forgetting to do it, you know? Because we do need to prioritize rest and self-care, and if you tend to always say you're gonna do it or you always want to do it but you seem like you can never find the time, make the time and like set that time, and you don't change that for nobody, okay? And not only has this worked wonders for me in prioritizing my self-care, but it also is always a good time to remind me to rest and to take care of myself. And the biggest thing that it helped remind me is why I'm setting these goals for myself, why I'm pushing myself. I push myself and I set these goals for myself because I love myself, right? Like, these are goals towards things that I've always wanted to do with my life, but I never have before or never dedicated to doing before. I deserve to do everything that I want to in this life, right? I deserve to have everything I want in this life. So I'm setting these goals for myself out of love, right? I know the life I deserve and I know the life I want, and I know I deserve to get there, right? I'm setting these goals for myself out of love. I'm pushing myself out of love, right? I'm not making myself do these things and being like, oh, if you don't do this, you're a failure, or I literally hate myself, so I'm gonna force you to work your little tushy off. No. Like, we are not making goals out of hatred or out of anger. We're not bullying ourselves, right? And every time I do these self-care nights where I really love myself and take care of myself and just rest and enjoy that time, that always brings my mind back to why I'm doing what I'm doing. Number 5, making small, consistent changes or doing small but consistent work is always, always, always better and more successful than trying to make huge, big, sporadic changes. What I mean by this is, if you decided today that you wanted to start doing yoga, for instance, if you start by just doing yoga for 10 minutes every single day, as opposed to doing yoga for an hour once a week, you're way more likely to stick with the first one than with the second. If you pick one habit that is going to help you get closer to your ideal life or who you want to be, and for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you just focus on incorporating that one habit, get that down, and then you try adding another habit. Wait a couple weeks till you get that one down. And making small changes but being consistent with it rather than just one day deciding you want to change everything about your life, trying to make all of these huge, massive changes, and then it not working and not sticking, and then you get frustrated and upset with yourself. It's so much better to make small changes and focus on consistency rather than try to make all these huge, big changes at once. And that's why your habits and routines are so important, because consistency is what is going to get you results at the end of the day, not making all these huge, big, sudden moves. No, it's about consistency. And it's easier to be consistent when you worry about one thing at a time and make small, gradual changes. Like, I know everyone always gets a sudden burst of motivation and wants to change everything about their life, but chances are that's not going to work, and maybe one thing that you try to incorporate will stick. Maybe. Whereas if you were to take all of those things that you want to incorporate and just do it gradually, one at a time, you will be so much more successful. Number 6 is embracing my feminine energy and doing things that make me feel feminine. Feminine energy is such a beautiful thing, and if you're a woman, you need to embrace your feminine side, like things that are pretty, that are beautiful, that are sensual. Like, these feed us, right? So those self-care nights, getting yourself flowers, taking good care of yourself, taking time every day to do your makeup, to do your hair, to put on like a cute outfit, even like anything that comes in pink, like I'm gonna buy it in pink, having my little like girly drink, always having things that smell good, taking the time to put lotion on, burn a candle, like anything that just lights up your feminine energy, please. When you start operating from your feminine energy, you are just so much kinder, compassionate, happier, relaxed, trusting. Like, it is just such an amazing experience, and you become so much more radiant and attractive to the things that you want. And it is amazing. And I think as women, like, that's something we need to embrace more. That was a change that honestly has just made me happier and made me enjoy life more and embrace being a woman and embrace the power that comes with being a woman, because women are so powerful, and you're literally missing out, and you're only hurting yourself if you're not tapping into that. Number 7, challenge equals growth. So if there's a specific skill or a specific area in your life that you want to improve on, you have to, 1, practice and challenge yourself, right? So for this example, we'll talk about confidence, because this is like the area of my life that I use this in. If you want to grow your confidence, you have to do things that seem challenging, that seem scary, right? If you just keep doing things that are within your comfort zone and you don't push yourself, you're not going to see growth. I always think of it like the gym, like a muscle, right? If you want to grow that muscle, you have to work it, and you have to work it to the point where it's challenging, right? Where you feel it. It's not going to be easy, but you have to push it if you want to see growth. It's the same with any skill or any area of your life, right? If sitting down, filming a video, talking to the camera seems like a challenge for you, do it, and you'll see growth in your confidence. Going places by yourself, eating a meal out at a restaurant by yourself, talking to strangers, whatever seems like a challenge for you, that's what you need to do to see growth in that area of your life. And again, same thing with practice. The more you do it, the easier it's going to be. Again, like, I'm not saying you have to do something completely crazy. Like, if you start working out, you're not going to go to the gym and squat 150 pounds, right? You start with 5, 10, 15, 20. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to go and challenge yourself with something absolutely insane. Just like some small challenge. Growth is uncomfortable. You can't stay comfortable and grow at the same time. And once I understood that, that helped so much. Like, I used to be like, oh, well, that feels scary, or like, I don't feel comfortable doing that, so I don't want to do it. No, if you want to see growth, if you want to see change, you got to push yourself a little bit. You got to do things that feel or seem challenging, and it'll pay off, because sooner than you realize, it won't even feel challenging anymore. It won't feel scary. And then you'll be like, oh, like, that really wasn't that bad. Exactly. Number 8 is I stopped being around people who don't make me feel good about myself or don't have a positive influence on me. I used to be friends with a lot of people because of convenience, or just because I was like a people pleaser, right? So I would put up with a lot, and I would force myself to be okay with a lot, even if these people didn't necessarily make me feel good about myself. I would continue to stay in the friendship, and then I realized why. Like, you're not doing any good for yourself by being around someone who doesn't make you feel good about yourself. If someone makes you feel bad about yourself, they're not your friend, and like, you just don't need to be around them. Like, why? There's no point. There are so many people in this world. There are so many people who want to be your friend. Why are you going to be friends with people who don't make you feel good? Like, if someone said this to me now, I'd be like, well, yeah, like, duh, of course. But genuinely, I used to just be friends, like I said, with whoever it was convenient to be friends with, whoever, you know, whoever wanted to be friends with me, I'd be like, sure. But now I'm more selective, because I don't want to be friends with someone who makes me feel bad about myself. Like, why? No, like, you have no place in my life. And the other thing is, people who don't have a positive influence. You know how, like, every mom always says, like, oh, they're a bad influence, da-da-da-da-da. It's so true that you pick up qualities and habits from the people that you're around a lot. So if you're friends with people who have a lot of negative habits, I don't know, like negative self-talk, or if they're really lazy, or this or that, whatever habits, qualities they exhibit, naturally, like, that's just how humans are. Naturally, you're going to start picking up little things from them. So if you look at your friends and you're like, I don't want to be like these people, then stop hanging around them, okay? Like, you need to hang out with people that you look up to, that you admire, that you want to be like. That when you guys start picking up on each other's qualities, it'll be a good thing for you, not a bad thing. Like, truly think about that with the people you're around. Like, look at them, look at their lives, their habits, their whatever. And if you're like, I don't want to be like these people, then stop hanging out with them. Like, for real. Because, like, your friends have so much influence on you, even if it's subconsciously. Like, it's just how humans are wired. The people you spend a lot of time with, you're going to pick up qualities and habits from them. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with good people who make you feel good, who uplift you, who support you, and that'll make a huge difference in your life. Number 9 is I started to understand the power of words. Words have huge power, both energetically and within our brains. If you're constantly talking down on yourself, or saying things like, I'm so broke, I'm so ugly, you know what I mean? Like, whatever those negative things that you're constantly saying, like, that has huge weight and huge influence on your brain. Once I really started to understand the power of words, I started to be so much more mindful and thoughtful with what I was saying, what I was speaking out into the universe, what I was really saying. And it's true. It's like definitely something you should look into. I'll try to see if I could find the videos that can explain it better than I can and have like the science and everything to back it up, but words are so powerful. So I really started to focus and pay attention to what I was saying and make sure I'm not saying anything negative or anything that I don't really mean. That's a big one, is like, don't say things that you don't mean. Even if you're joking about something, you're still saying it, you know what I mean? Like, and your brain doesn't know the difference. And number 10, focusing on being the best version of me, not on being perfect. I used to be such a perfectionist, and I would turn that on myself. Like, I thought I needed to be perfect. I would constantly put pressure on myself that I had to be perfect and that I couldn't let anyone see a side of me that was less than perfect. And I realized that that's not me, okay? Because I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. There's literally no such thing as perfection, right? As soon as I realized that that was stupid and like that was like complete unreal expectation I was setting for myself and hurting myself in the process, I threw that out the window, and now I just focus on being the best version of myself, right? Like, me, in all my aspects of me. How can I improve? How can I be better? How can I be the best version of me? And I know, like, that's never going to be perfect because nobody's perfect, but that has improved my relationship with myself a ton and made me stop being so like nitty gritty and picky with things, and just it made me stop being so hard on myself. And this was one of the things that helped stop me from being mean to myself, because I used to be really mean for myself because I was comparing myself to something that was never going to happen, right? Like, I had such unreal expectations and unattainable standards that I was trying to hold myself to, and you're never going to be happy that way, like, ever. So once I started like accepting who I am and loving who I am, I just started to focus on, okay, like, what can I do to make my life better? How can I improve this skill, or how can I grow in this area? And like genuinely just focused on being the best, happiest, most fulfilled version of me, of who I am, not perfect. Because like I said, that's just never gonna happen. So like, why would I even bother trying to do that? Okay guys, that was it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I really hope that making one of these small changes will help you guys a lot. So, see you next time.